Hello everyone. Today I'm going to teach you how to make an objective map in Gnome Room in Hell, or how to set them up, the objectives. We're going to use this map I made here as a tutorial. If you don't know how to work with Hammer Editor or make the basic like stuff, like switches and doors and breakable stuff, you should go look at a tutorial. I recommend ToppHATTWaffle. I'll put a link in the description. I'm going to make 3 objectives in this map. One is putting this battery in the zone, one is pushing this button, and the last is breaking this painting. These are the 3 objectives that we will work on for now. Now let's get into Hammer Editor and see what we need to do.
So first off, we need to create Gnome Room in Hell objective boundary. This hooldall is what manages all your objectives. We'll call it objective 1. We have 3 objectives we're going to set up, but so make 2 more. Call this one objective 2. This one objective 3. When we set up objectives, they need to be in their own viz group. So let's make objective 1 in its own viz group and do the same with the other 2. Now we need to make one header objective for all our actual objectives to be stored in. Call it objective, and needs to have this name according to wiki. I've got away with calling it objectives before, but I don't know how it works. Just make sure it's called objective to be safe. Another thing to be sure of is make sure this is not a parent of auto. If it's a parent of auto, you're not going to have a good time, so don't do that. Now that we have objective viz group and our 3 objectives, we need to make sure these 3 are inside this one. So highlight the one you're gonna select or whatever, and hold right click and drag it into objective. Do the same with the other 2. Hold right click and drag it into objective. Now we have all 3 of our objectives inside this thing right here. Okay, now let's go set up the objectives themselves. I want to go put them near their source of the objective. Oh, so it's easier to find them when I need them. Now, I've already set up how this works. This prop physics battery goes into this zone, managed by this filter, and when it does, it will kill this battery and use this point template to spawn this one as if you placed it there. Now we're just going to make sure that the objective is complete. So we're going to add another thing on trigger here. We're going to use this eyedrop tool and select objective 1, or alternatively you could just write it here, and we're going to give it the command objective complete and make it fire once, because we don't want objectives to complete multiple times. Now what this does is when objective 1 completes, the next objective will immediately start. Now we are going to do the same with objective 2. Once this button is pressed, we will have objective 2 complete. Lastly, we will have, when this painting breaks, objective 3 is complete. Alright, so what we just did now is set up the hammer editor side of what needs to be done. Now that we have this done, we can go into the normal room now objective tool and set things up from there.
Alright, we are in normal room now directory. Let's go into the YouTube folder and open up NMR objective. See a little GUI here. Go click on the folder and find the VMF that you've been working on for the map. Mine is called OBJ tutorial. Okay, now you see we have 3 objectives here, 1, 2, and 3. And if you left click them, you'll see a red border highlighting it. Description is what you see in game. I've already written them in. Put battery in blue, push button, break painting. And now let's link them together to signify the progression from one objective to the next. Select one and right click and drag the next objective. Now select the next objective and right click and drag to the next one. Now since we have 3 objectives, this is what we have so far, but if we have more, we'll be going in that fashion. Now you can just save, and by saving we may make the NMO file. The NMO file will be located where the VMF is. So for us, the VMF is located in this folder. Right here, OBJ tutorial. NMOS is just a save for the settings if we were to open OBJ tutorial's objective thing again. Now let's copy this and put it with our map in the NMRIH directory, right next to our old one. And let's see if it works. If it works, you should see a warm-up timer when you open the map. Although I disabled mine, so you should also see the objective pop up. Just like this. If this doesn't show up, then the NMO file is missing from the NMRIH directory. Now let's see if our objectives work. The first one should be putting this battery inside the zone. Seemed to work. Now push the button and break the painting. We completed all 3 objectives and we triggered extraction, so we finished the map. But let's get more into depth. Alright, so we are back in the Hammer editor. Let's go add a few things to our objective map. If we go into our first objective here, we see something called glow entity 1, 2, 3, and so on. These are used to signify on the map where the items are, so you can see them on the compass, and if you approach them they'll glow in that color. So let's make our battery glow red when we approach it and allow us to see where it is, general direction of where it is on the map as well. So for glowing entity 1, let's choose object battery and let's pick a color, red, because that's how it usually is. Now for glowing entity 2, let's mark this template because this is the general area, the zone that the battery needs to go to. So it'll point to this area in the color white. And that's all you need to do to mark those 2 colors. Now let's do the same for objective 2 and 3. We want this button to glow. And third, we want this painting to glow because we're going to break it. Oh yeah, I had to give this a name. There we go, we set up colors now. And now let's set up a condition where the objective can fail. So if we put this battery into this fire, let's make it get destroyed. I've already set up the trigger here. This trigger will, on start touch of the activator, and the only thing that can trigger this is a physics object, it will break whatever goes in here. So let's take this battery, and if it breaks, then objective 1 will fail. Now we have a way that the objective can fail. Now let's set up extraction. Extraction is where you see the little cutscene after you finish all the objectives, and then you have some time to go to the extraction point. So let's set that up. Okay, in order to set up an extraction point, we're going to need a few things. First, let's make NMRIH extract point. This little helicopter is what manages the extraction sequence. Let's call it extraction. Now we need something called extraction zone and a camera. The camera is what you get to see when you see the little cutscene at the end. So let's make the camera right now. It'll be called NMRIH extract preview. Now I'm just going to put it here, and I'm going to make it point at this door, because this door is what's going to open during extraction. And I'm going to call this extract cam. Just make sure, see if I make the door open. Yeah, I make the door open in 4 seconds, which is this door right here. Now I gotta make sure this thing knows what the extraction cam is. There we go. Now we need to set up extraction zone. Alright, so go ahead and make your zone. You make sure you use the extraction zone texture. Set there. We can put this behind the door. Yeah. And make this a func NMRIH extraction zone. Call this extract zone. You can make it so these things enter it. Shouldn't really mess with this though. And you can just disable or enable it based on how your map is. Maybe like a zone in your map is disabled at some point that you could have already went through, and now all you do is turn this on. Something like that, whatever. You'll figure it out. Now that we made this extract zone, let's make sure our extraction point knows what it is. Under extract zone, just put that up. There we go. And now our extraction is set up. Now after all these objectives are done, extraction will trigger, but we still need to connect this inside our NMO file. So let's go open up that NMR objective tool again, go into our object tutorial, and we see here that this extraction is now here. Make sure to link objective 3 to the extraction so that the map knows to start that sequence once objective 3 is done. Remember to move that new NMO file you just made into the maps folder, and to replace the old one. Now let's see our results. Now let's try failing the map first. If you put in this fire, it breaks the car battery and we lost. So let's map reset. Alright, now we know that. Or ignore this button and just put it there for experiment or something. Now if you break this painting, it should start the extraction sequence. And here it is. That door opens. And here we go. We just enter this and we're extracting. Now there's some things I forgot to point out. We're back in the hammer editor. Now if you go into the NMRIH extract preview, the amount of time the camera is showing whatever is based off this whole time here. This is basically like a point view control, but for NMRIH. So the cameras work in that fashion. This is just how long it holds for. And here in the extract point, you see something called extraction length. This extraction length is how much time you have to get to the extraction zone before you automatically fail. So play with this number as you will. And that's pretty much extraction for you.